Welcome back, friends. It's so good to have this time with you again. The days are getting shorter. We just celebrated a whole lot about our saints, and I have one more saint lesson for you right now. Today's lesson is about the saint, one of the saints, that the church celebrates in November. Today's lesson is about St. Margaret of Scotland. Are you ready? Let's begin. So we start here with green, because the church celebrates St. Margaret of Scotland during the great green growing season of the church year, that time after Pentecost. St. Margaret of Scotland is one of the saints that we remember, but why does the church remember her? Let's find out. Margaret was not born in Scotland. She was actually born in Hungary, and when she was young, she moved to England. And at the age of 12, she lived in England. Things went well for Margaret in England until the time of William the Conqueror, who came in and took over the country. William the Conqueror did not want anyone connected with the old royal family to remain in England, so Margaret fled. She went north to Scotland. The King of Scotland was called Malcolm. Now, Malcolm knew about fleeing because his father had been King Duncan, and King Duncan was killed by Macbeth, and Malcolm had to run away. He saw Margaret and fell in love, and the two got married. After some years, they looked around their household and realized they had a wonderfully growing family. Margaret and Malcolm had 8 children, and Margaret was a good mother and a good wife. One of the things that she chose to do was to make the palace more beautiful. She hung tapestries on the walls to bring color into the stone building. And these tapestries also kept the rooms warmer because they blocked out cold, chilly drafts that blew through the castle. Margaret also brought books to Scotland. And while she was never actually able to teach her husband, King Malcolm, to read, she was able to show him the importance of books. And Malcolm, even though he couldn't read a word of what was inside the covers, would kiss the Bible as a sign of respect. Margaret was serious about her faith, and she found a place in the castle where she could go to pray every day. Soon, she was joined by other people, and Margaret made sure that anyone who lived in the palace or worked in the palace had time each day to spend in prayer. Margaret also helped the religious people of Scotland to do their jobs more beautifully. She rebuilt the monastery on the holy island of Iona, and then she invited the Benedictine monks to come to Scotland and built an abbey for them called Dunfermline. Margaret also insisted that the doors to the palace be open to anyone every day. And when she traveled around Scotland, she gave money to anyone who asked for it. The poor knew that she took care of them. King Malcolm was a little worried about all the money that she was giving away, but when he saw the good that it did in his country, he was proud of his wife. And he even asked her questions about how to best rule Scotland. Years passed, and a great war broke out between Scotland and England. King Malcolm and his sons went away to war, and Margaret was ill during this time. In one of the great battles, King Malcolm and his oldest son were killed. And when the youngest son came back to the palace, Margaret asked how everyone was. And the son said that everyone was fine. But Margaret knew in her heart of hearts that her husband and son were were gone. 4 days later, she prayed, "Lord, let me be free." And on that day, she died. She was buried at Dunfermline Abbey. We remember Margaret of Scotland because she cared for her children and the people of her country for God. She gave money to the poor. She made it more beautiful for the clergy to do their work and built Dunfermline Abbey. And she put tapestries in the cold, cold palaces to make them more home-like. Margaret of Scotland, one of the saints the church remembers in November. I wonder what you thought the most important part of this story was. And I wonder what your favorite part of this story was. I wonder if there's any part of the story we could leave out and still have all that we need. And I wonder what other questions you have about Margaret of Scotland. All right, friends, so it's time for you to do maybe some work on your own. Are you inspired by the story of Margaret of Scotland? Maybe there's another story that we've gone through that you're inspired by too. I hope that you do some good work today. And don't forget, we'd love to see it. Thanks again to all of our folks behind the camera who are helping us to bring these lessons to you. And I hope that you and your family are well. Be well, wash your hands, take care of each other.